So, actually, kaya ako naisip, ma'am, na na yung topic is about homeschooling is kasi yung lately, di ba, yun nga po yung news sa Philippines na August 24 magsa-start yung classes. Pero June pwede na po yung mga private schools, yung colleges, yung universities. Pwede na po silang mag-start. Pero hindi pa pwede yung face-to-face.
Yes.
Pwede yung face-to-face. Tapos kung by August 24, I think, dun pa lang pwedeng mag-start yung face-to-face. And marami kasi yung parents na natatakot pa din kahit na pwede nang mag-start yung school. Natatakot pa rin sila na na i-risk ba yung yung life ng anak nila. So maraming nag-worry na parents, iniisip nila yung choices nila is pwedeng i-stop muna for 1 year or tapos after 1 year kung okay na yung situation, saka na lang sila papasok ulit yung mga kids. Yung iba naman, yun nga, naghahanap sila ng other ways or other means kung paano ba mabigyan ng okay na education yung anak nila. And I think for Filipinos kasi medyo parang hindi sila sanay or hindi sila sanay sa homeschool pag narinig yung homeschool.
Yes.
So maraming ganun. Pag sinabi mo pa lang na homeschool, parang bakit? Ganon. Parang ang dami agad questions. Not knowing na kung ano ba yung mga, yung benefits ng homeschool.
Yes.
So, kaya naisip ko agad, actually kayo po agad yung naisip ko. Kasi, matagal ko na nababasa yung blog nyo. Kung hindi nyo po alam, si Miss May, ano po siya, di ba? Blogger, ang dami, blogger, housewife, writer for smartparenting.ph. Ayan, and gumagawa din ng mga reviews. Yung blog niya yung site niya is fullyhousewifed.com. Actually, nung nagsa-start po ako na maging housewife, naghanap ako ng mga articles about being a mom. And yung blog niyo po talaga yung nakatulong sa akin when I was starting. So, nakita ko rin po yun sa homeschooling. So, ang una po talagang pumasok sa isip ko na tao na interviewin ay kayo po talaga. Kayo po talaga yung gusto kong makausap about this. Kasi nakita ko po how bold you are and how hands-on you are when it comes to really providing for your kids when it comes to their education. Hindi lang yung sa schooling, talaga yung education. So, yun po ma'am, gusto ko po talagang magtanong. Actually, marami akong terms na hindi ko masyadong maintindihan pa.
Okay.
Kaya baka minsan mali yung term na magamit ko. So, pwede niyo pong i-clear kung sakali.
Okay.
So, siguro po yung magsisimula po ako dun sa tanong na paano kayo nag-decide na naisip nyo, sige, mag-homeschool ako. Parang what helped you decide to finally choose homeschooling for your kids or for your family?
When our eldest son was young, when he was born, we were surrounded by homeschooling families in our church in Alabang. We were with Victory Alabang, and we belonged to this discipleship group where the families were already homeschooling their children. They were much older than Pablo. And we saw the dynamics of the family and how the children are being raised with such good character, and they know God very early in their lives. And the way their lifestyle kasi is already, a school is not like a separate life for the children. It's their learning is a lifestyle. It's and everything else, like their church life, their relationship with the Lord is already part of their lifestyle. And it's something that my husband and I wanted for our own children. At saka nakita namin the quality of their children. The quality talaga of yung personalities nila, and the way, the relationship between the parents and the children, nakakatuwa, nakaka-encourage, because you can see how open the children are, to receiving instructions from the parents, and how also the parents are able to connect with their children, which is different from how a typical traditional Filipino family is. Kasi di ba, I grew up kasi in an environment where iba yung matanda, bata. Yung there's like a
close, hindi ganun ka-close.
There's a certain hierarchy, and the children are not open. Because I remember there are certain things that I do not talk about with my parents. I just talk about it with my friends. You know, like there are certain people who I can talk about with certain subjects. But with my parents, parang limited lang.
You'd rather talk to other people than your parents.
Yes. But just disclaimer, no? Siguro it also comes with the times, because I've also met other parents, other families whose kids naman are going to school, but they have practically the same dynamics. So it's really the principle. We just felt that the homeschooling was more appropriate for us. Setup, because I felt that if I send them to school, we may not be able to connect with them, as well as those families who were able to successfully do that when they sent their children to school. So, yun.
Actually, maganda po na sabi niyo yun, na merong pumapasok sa traditional or conventional schools na okay din. Yun, actually,
yes,
yun yung gusto kong i-emphasize din, na sa series na gusto kong gawin na ito ng mga videos, hindi siya more kung kino-compare kung mas maganda to, mas maganda nun. No. Ang gusto ko talaga is ma-present sa mga parents na pwede kayong mag-homeschool. It's an opportunity na you can take anytime. Hindi siya more on comparison, mas magaling yung nasa homeschool, mas magaling yung sa traditional school. It's not like that. I just want to present them with the alternatives, kumbaga. Kung nag-worry ka na paano na yung anak ko, hindi sila makakapasok sa school, madi-delay. I want to present them with different possibilities, alternatives na meron pa. Kasi na-feel ko yung ibang parents na natatakot sila, paano na. Pero parang gusto ko sabihin, don't worry, marami pang iba na, diretso pa rin yung buhay ng ibang nag-homeschool. Diretso pa rin sila. Yun.
But during that time kasi, I felt na parang, it's a good alternative for us. And I think we could also achieve the same with our children if we homeschool. But not necessarily because homeschooling is the better choice. It's just specifically for us, for our family. It felt that it was the right thing to do.
Pero nung nag-decide po kayo na mag-homeschooling, were there people or relatives na against sa decision?
Oh yes, until now. Until now, yes. Because my mom is an educator. She used to own a school from preschool to grade 6. And my sister-in-law is also a teacher she has a position already in the public school. So, yes.
Tapos biglang homeschool.
Yes, the mindset is, yes, they care about our children naman. And to be honest kasi, my sister-in-law kasi, her children are excellent and they excel in their schools. So, there was a misunderstanding in terms of why we decided to homeschool. Kasi, compared to them, we were financially sure that the reason was financial difficulty. Although that comes into play, it has something to do also with our decision, because when you want to educate your child, you want to give them the best education. You want to give them the best quality education. And syempre, when you look at your alternatives, a lot of them talaga, they cost a lot. And we felt that we will be able to provide the same quality of education from our home. without having to worry about where we're going to get the money to pay for, yes, for the tuition fees and registration fees. Because when you're homeschooling, you're able to manage your finances better. Kasi hindi siya yung outright na you have to pay this, all the fees, right? Here, you can, I'll touch on the finances na. Here, you can say, let's say, my son, he needs, he wants to train in theater, like that. In schools, parang if they have a theater program, yun na yun eh. You either let your son join or not. It could be part of their curriculum na kasi, di ba? But for our children, we can wait. We can say, okay, we'll prepare for your theater workshop. So we will do it in summer, and then we can grade that. We can, if we have a provider, we used to have a provider, and we needed to submit grades. So we can use the grade for the summer for the following year in, let's say, arts. Like that. So, pwede mo siyang spread out yung expenses mo.
Okay. Parang pwede mong ma-manage yung expenses all throughout the year.
Yes. Or if we can do it, for example, my husband and I, we're both musicians, and we can do certain things, like I can teach them art, which is what I'm doing with my two younger kids and their friends. So we don't have to spend so much for that because we can already teach that. So may ganon na factor.
It's good that you touch on the financial side. Kasi nung nag-search ako ng cost for homeschooling, yung iba kasi sinasabi, oh, kaya kayo nag-homeschool or kaya nila pinili yung homeschool is dahil it's cheaper than yung traditional school. Pero pag tinignan mo yung price nila for example for Peniel, I think Peniel Integrated Christian Academy. They start for pre-K, they start for 16,000 to 19,500.
Yes.
For Homeschool Global, they start at 35,000. And meron silang iba-ibang approaches. And then for Catholic Filipino Academy, it's 31,000 to 34,000. So, hindi lahat. Pero merong iba na they start from 12,000, 10,000. So, do you think it's yung financial aspect should be the main reason why one should go for homeschooling or not?
I think that we should not discount the financial side as a reason, but ideally, it should not be your main reason why you want to homeschool your child. Because homeschooling, it requires a lot of preparation, psychologically, mentally, physically. You don't just go in there just because you cannot afford a regular school, because there's a responsibility that comes with it. So hindi mo talaga pwedeng sabihin na mura siya, because mahal ang time, mahal ang energy, mahal ang, there's preparation also for the lessons. And when we started, hindi pa ako I didn't know so much, and I was so excited. Ang dami ko, research pa ako ng research. And syempre pag preschool, mas marami yung hands-on, di ba? So, I had to print out and cut, and napupuyat ka talaga, yes, to prepare for all those things. So, yes. So, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na mura siya talaga. But, there are options talaga in terms of the cost. Mm-hmm. But we have to also remind people that, syempre different offerings have different rates. Kaya iba-iba rin ang cost ng mga homeschooling providers, because some of them, they offer some more than just documentations. Some of them, they offer, let's say, kasi meron silang sinusunod na requirements. Some of them, they have an advisor that meets with the students every quarter may certain guidance mas one-on-one counseling and family guidance, yung mga ganon.
Yeah.
Some of them they offer if you live close to the
yes.
to the office, to the school. Some of them they have the brick and mortar division, so your children can join their activities. So iba-iba din talaga ng ino-offer.
St. Paul and St. Mark's School, nakalagay doon na kung nakatira ka malapit sa vicinity nila or sa area nila, you can join the monthly activities or other events in the school. So they are free to join. Yun nga.
At saka sometimes they offer special classes, and the special classes are usually they're usually handled by, let's say, professionals from the industries. Kasi ganun kasi ang usual goal ng homeschooling community, to expose the children to the actual industry. So to do that, you get people from the industry itself. And syempre, when you get people from the industry, they cost. So yun, yung mga ganon. For example, some of them, they offer certain workshops and they get professionals from the industry to handle those workshops. So syempre may corresponding fee yung ganon.
I remember, I think I'm not sure if it's from one of your articles or from one of your posts na parang sinabi mo doon na homeschooling can be as expensive as you want it to be or as affordable as you want it to be. Diba? Kung gusto mo na mag-aral sila ng fencing, ng tennis, ng then you can spend more money. Kung yun yung target mo. If you think it's not appropriate for their age, gusto mo iba, and you have people in your community who can help them in that field, then it's it may cost a little less. Diba? I remember that.
Yes, it may cost less. It depends on your goals as a family. For example, our children, they're performers. So, hindi pwedeng basta-basta ko na lang sila ipasok sa kung ano-anong workshop. Di ba? Because there's a lot. There's a wide array of workshops being offered. But you, of course, choose somebody who can help your child achieve his professional goals, right? But if it's just for fun and hindi naman yun yung talagang go target nila, kunyari, you can just
experience.
Let them join. For example, in art, kung hindi naman balak mag-begin painter ng anak mo, gusto lang niya talagang mag-art, then you can put together an art group among the other homeschoolers and get somebody who knows how to paint and teach kids and just do that. So it can be that way. Depende rin sa needs mo talaga. There was a time in we had a season in our life when we couldn't afford any of those, even with our goals. Although that time, hindi pa naman ganun yung goals namin. But even if we had goals, we would not have been able to afford those kinds of workshops. So we were just happy having a play group with friends because there is a time for everything. And I guess at that time, it wasn't yet the Lord's will for our children to have that. Sometimes, the thing about homeschooling is that it grows you as a person, as parents. It teaches you to trust. Yes, it teaches you to trust the Lord and His timing and His provisions. Sometimes, you pray for something and it's there. The Lord provides. The provision is there. The grace is there. But sometimes you pray for something, it doesn't happen right away. And it grows you as a parent. And it tells you, okay, what can I do right now? It teaches you to ask the Lord, okay, Lord, you're not giving it to us right now. What do you want us to do at the moment? So, yeah.
And then when it comes, it's like it's a perfect timing.
Yes. Oh, I'll give you an example. There was a time when I wanted to put my children Okay. May lumabas kasi na na notification. Okay. There was a time when I felt that my eldest son needed workshop. This was when he was starting off in theater, and he was accepted. He passed an audition, but while waiting for the rehearsals to start, I felt that maybe I should put him in a workshop with a theater company so that it could, give him some sort of preparation for the rehearsals. But we couldn't afford it at that time. So nag-resort na kami sa, okay, maybe the Lord just wants our children to rest, right? So, okay, Lord, we'll just rest, we'll just play and use this time to spend quality time with the children as a family, to have fun together, enjoy the summer. But then as soon as we've settled with that, I received an email that the company itself that was handling the show wanted to train the children right away and put them in the workshop. So they had the workshop already. Nice. So, yeah, I mean, things like that happen.
Like yung isa naman nakakilala ko na nag-homeschool, since they are wealthy, ginawa nila is they tried to join their kids in international competitions. For example,
that's good. Yes.
It depends on how you want it to be as expensive as you want it to be. It depends on where you want them to be expensive.
Yes.
So there's at least a possibility na pwede palang ganon pag homeschool.
And there are other ways, honestly. There are scholarships offered in certain. Sometimes you just really have to humble yourself and ask. Although I'm not advocating that we all go for freebies. It's not that. It's sometimes you just really have to be resourceful enough to see if anyone is offering anything that would help your child. When my eldest son was younger, there were a lot of free workshops in Alabang Town Center. We were still living in the south, in Las Piñas that time. So Alabang was very accessible, Alabang Town Center. And every summer, they had this series of workshops that they offer at the mall for free. All you need to do is go there an hour or two before and sign your child up. And so it's not as comfortable as when you go to something that you paid for kasi marami talaga nagsasign up. But, there are ways to get these things, to do these things that you want your child to do.
Ayan. So, pupunta na tayo, ma'am, sa part ng actual na homeschooling. Yung first step dun sa mga nag-iisip na, sige, gusto ko I want to consider homeschooling for my kid or for my children. Ano yung first step na kailangan nilang gawin as parents? Ano yung first step? And include ko na rin, ma'am, yung Miss May, yung part na should they look for a provider, and what is a provider, and what's the importance of having a provider? Kasi usually yung mga nagsisearch ng homeschooling, they would always see, do you have a provider? Do you need a provider? So, and they don't know what provider means. So, ano po ba yung term na ito when it comes to homeschooling? Pag sinabing, do you have a homeschool provider?
A homeschool provider is basically the school that is licensed by the Department of Education, or if you're in the States, it's given the license by the state to accommodate homeschoolers, to put them under their umbrella. Bale, umbrella school sila. And you have to submit grades and records. So for documentation purposes, they're there. If you want to transition your child to a traditional school later on, it would be easier because it's like being under a regular school, except that you are teaching your child and just submitting the documentations. There is another term called independent homeschooling. These are the people who do not enroll, who choose not to enroll in a homeschool provider. But I do not recommend it, especially for new homeschoolers. Because usually when we come into homeschooling and we're new at it, even if we've read a lot of articles and we've interviewed a lot of people, we still lack one important thing, which is experience. And experience matters kasi in a way in homeschooling, because you'll have to be able to know whether you can or cannot do something in your for example, a lot of people, they want to go to they want to do independent homeschooling because they want to do away with the fees. But then with that, it would be difficult to find guidance and guidance from people who actually know what they're doing. Because if you have a provider, you have somebody to call for what books would be appropriate, what can I do with my child, pag ganito. These are the support. There's a support system that's automatically in place when you have a provider. Secondly, yun nga, the documentations. If you live in the Philippines, if you homeschool your child outside the DepEd system, the grade levels will not be accredited if you go back to traditional school. So, for example, you homeschool your child for 4th and 5th grade, but you did not register with any DepEd accredited provider. Pagbalik mo, balik siya sa grade 4 unless you take the qualifying exams and pass it. So, medyo, well, it worked for some people. Yeah, it worked for a lot of people. But mas hassle. It's not as smooth as when you have a provider. Excuse me.
So the difference niya, ma'am, sa pagkakaintindi ko, if you want to homeschool, there are two options. One is you go under a provider, yung homeschool provider, which is the school. So pag sila yung magpo-provide ng curriculum, and sila din yung magpo-provide ng mga, sila yung bahala sa mga documentation ng anak mo.
And let me clarify. It depends on, when it comes to curriculum, it depends on the provider you're going to. Because some providers, for example, the School of Tomorrow, which is a school that a provider that we went under for 3 years, they have a box curriculum, so you have to use their materials. But Peniel, which was our first provider, you can either use their curriculum, but they also allow open curriculum, which gives you the flexibility to choose and customize your own homeschool and choose your own materials. So may ganun din.
Nakita ko nga. So bale, when you want to go when you want to proceed to homeschool your kids, there are two options. Two options. One, yung homeschool provider, and the other is independent. Ito yung sarili mo on your own, parang ganon. And under the homeschool provider, meron silang approaches, which is kapag boxed curriculum, you have to follow strictly the material that they're going to give you. Like, sa School of Tomorrow, and I think sa Homeschool Global, they offer different approaches. You can choose the box, the open, and the one with online. So
the tech. Yeah, they have touch and tech.
So iba-iba siya. So it means if you're going to choose a homeschool provider, under that you still have options. Am I going to use the boxed curriculum, the open curriculum, or kung ano pa yung curriculum na approach ba? Approach or curriculum? Approach.
Curriculum is the lessons, the lesson that your children will take. Approach would be method.
Okay.
How you plan to homeschool your child? What is the approach or method you want to use? For example, ito yung pumapasok yung mga Charlotte Mason method, classical method, eclectic method, ganyan.
Oo nga. Nabasa ko nga din yan yung mga Charlotte Mason. Nalito to, sabi ko, ano ba yung gagamitin nila? Pero yun nga, so under homeschool provider, we have yung different types, kung box, if follow mo strictly yung ibibigay nila. And then, kung open curriculum siya, which is, bahala kang maghanap ng books. Is that correct? So, kung gusto ko American style yung book, it's okay? Kung ganun po siya. Okay, so that's the open curriculum. And then yung iba naman, yung parang combined na they follow the box. Along with it, they have to meet a teacher from time to time online.
That's distance learning.
Okay. Iba pa yun.
Iba pa yun. Kasi ano yun, parang school yun eh. It's like an online classroom.
Okay. So yun. So yun yung parang two major options nila when it comes to choosing or when it comes to the homeschool path. One under provider and then the other independent. Kapag independent, ang mangyayari, parang open curriculum din po siya, no?
Open curriculum ka talaga. Kasi it's really up to no one. There's no one regulating you. There are no rules in terms of materials. Yeah. But the downside to that is it will be a little more difficult to get back to the system in case you don't know what's going to happen. And it might happen that your children needs to go back to the system. Then there will be, the process will be more tedious than when you're already with a provider. Plus, most providers provide support. Okay? In independent, you can still get support from, let's say, Facebook communities. But, iba kasi talaga yung, kasi you have to align yourself with the vision of the provider when you're with a provider. So there's a vision being followed, there's a direction being but if you are confident with the direction your family is going, and you have no need for yung siguradong community support, and you feel that you can get the support that you need from other sources, then I guess independent is fine. And if you are not really worried about accreditation and all that, then the independent route is fine. Yeah, it works for other families.
And for those na confident na alam nila kapag nag-take ng qualifying exam yung anak nila, it will be on the right level. Tama po ba?
Yes, kasi they have to take the test. But just for DepEd kasi is rolling out at the moment. They're currently in talks on what processes they would take. Kasi di ba nag-iba na nga yung phase of homeschooling right now because of the pandemic. So they are now talking about, they're now discussing whether they should continue with the current system, which is the PEPT for independent homeschoolers if they want to go back to the system, or if they will use another system. So we're still waiting for them to announce that. Yeah.
Okay. So after the first step of choosing a homeschool provider or being an independent, ito na yung actual na mag-aaral sila, yung day-to-day routine or day-to-day life nila. Can you describe to me po how's parang i-describe niyo po sa akin yung routine na nangyayari sa family niyo or sa bahay niyo. Is it the same every day or hindi siya the same every day? It depends on the season. Can you share?
In our family, paano ba? We try to put a structure, but it's not as we're not as structured as other families, simply because we're all creatives. So unpredictable kami in terms of personalities and also schedule. Kasi the children, sometimes they do stuff. So pag ganon, we have to adjust. But on a regular day, without anything else on the side, we usually usually try to do the lessons at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I have work. So at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we sit down, we follow the workbooks. We do the workbooks. Sometimes, yun yung ang tawag doon, yun yung peaceful part ng, Kasi, sometimes we have to listen also to our children. Sometimes they don't feel like working on the workbooks, which is understandable, di ba? Tayo rin naman, as adults, we also go through that. We don't want to just sit down sometimes with the books and pour over exercises and drills. For example, my youngest, he's very kinesthetic. He likes working on stuff by hand. So we allow him that. Sometimes we have science experiments. And to break the monotony, I don't know if you've seen it. Sometimes we do video shoots of their interests.
Yes.
So, for example, when he does the science experiments, we oblige him and we do a complete video shoot of his experiment so that he has an avenue to explain it. Huh?
They have a YouTube channel. Your kids.
Yes, he did, but we're in the process of putting it together. We used to have like separate videos, YouTube channels, but now we're in the process of integrating everything in one. So we're going to have Raising Kings by Fullyhousewifed up soon. So it's gonna be the video. Para ano rin, kasi it's so hard for me to manage so many channels. Kasi since they're minors, I still handle it.
So the routine or the it actually depends on the lifestyle of the family, right?
Yes, it depends on the lifestyle of the family, and it also depends on the curriculum. Because sometimes I think there are curriculums that has more hands-on. So iba yon. In the morning, so if I should give a clear picture of how it happens here, a typical day for us would be when the children wake up, they prepare their own breakfast most of the time. We've taught them how to cook. They know simple things like eggs, pancakes. We have bread and spread here. They prepare it because they know that mommy's working in the mornings until 2 o'clock. So there, they prepare, they wash the dishes, and then after that we have the what is it?
More on life skills.
Yes, life skills. It's part of homeschooling because you have to see homeschooling as preparing your children for life, not just passing exams and finishing the workbooks. So they have to know these things. And we have the non-negotiables, the 5 Bs. So as soon as they wake up, they have to brush their teeth, fix their beds, read their Bibles, and do their devotions, and read a good book. And then there's another one, breakfast, eat your breakfast. So those are the 5 Bs, which already takes up, let's say they usually wake up at around 9 or 10. So it's enough for them until lunchtime. yung routine, yung 5 Bs nila. But if they finish early, they are free to do whatever. Kasi we live in a small house. We're tiny living, and it's a 21 square meter house. So I can see them. We see each other on a close proximity. They can read their books. They can we have a box full of art materials that they can open and just, they want to paint, they want to cut stuff, they want to paste, they can do that. We have the shelves with the books, and they have their instruments. So, if gusto nila mag-ingay, pwede naman. Sanay na ako. Yan. I have a child who likes to imagine a lot. So what he does is, you see him walking around talking. Nag-imagine siya ng scene. So that's fine with me. It's okay. You can do that. Yeah. Until lunchtime. Usually lunch naman, I have a break from work of 30 minutes. Na prepare ko yung lunch nila. And then after that, they wait just a couple more. Sometimes they want to do their workbooks already. My youngest likes to get his, kasi we're currently using Brain Quest. Have you seen Brain Quest?
I think nakita ko siya dun sa mga posts ng mga taga-homeschool.
It's very colorful. Para siyang, so na-enjoy niya. It's like one of those activity books. Ganun yung dating niya, but it's academic. So, nakakatuwa because he, sometimes when he's bored, he just gets it and he just starts with it on his own beside me. So, yun, that's what they do until 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, that's when I ask them to do your workbook. Do at least
yung sa academics.
2 o'clock or 4 before nung nagpe-paces kami with School of Tomorrow, 4 o'clock kami kasi kailangan talagang medyo heavily supervised yan. Ngayon, they heavily supervised yung just to explain kasi may araling panlipunan at Filipino kasi ang paces. So, I need to be 100% sa kanila because I have to sit down because my kids don't speak Filipino very well. So, kailangan ko pa silang upuan talaga sa mga Filipino subjects. Pero ngayon, with Brain Quest, wala namang araling panlipunan ng Filipino yung books na yun. So, they can do it while I'm working. They do it and then they show me. Sometimes, they would come to me and ask me questions. Pero short lang naman yung mga windows and so okay lang. Nakakasingit naman sila sa akin. Yeah. And when we're done with that, they're free to do whatever they want, except that we don't have gadgets on weekdays. So they're free to be creative. I call it like be creative. Like sometimes we do. Yeah. Sometimes they ask me if we could play a board game, or if we can, if I could help them do something. Sometimes they ask me to teach them to cook, to bake, to plant. We try as much as possible to provide them with stuff that they'd be curious to make or to do. So, yun, I bought those little pots kasi with soil and seeds. So they want to do it because it's just there. So if you provide your children with all those things that they could get busy with, they'll be fine. But sometimes, okay lang din, they want to write. I have a son who likes to write. Yung nag-i-imagine is the same person, is the same kid that likes to write. So yun, that's a typical day for us. On other days, minsan, because so my children, they do voice acting, and sometimes we get a call from the studio. They could come in. This is before quarantine, okay? So, we'd have to go to the studio. So, sometimes yung workbooks, hindi na namin nagagawa right away. We go there. So, if we have more time, kasi usually ang recording naman is 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Matagal na yung maka 30 minutes ka eh. So when we get back, we would go to my husband's office. They have a coffee shop outside with tables. And that's where we do some of the worksheets. So yun, that's very typical for us.
I think it depends dun sa it depends on the personalities of the kids. Yung daily routine na nangyayari sa per family, for example, a homeschooling family. It depends on the personalities, the interests of the kids. So, depending ngayon sa parents and how she or he would squeeze everything in a day. Depende pa rin siya sa lifestyle ng family, sa interest ng bata, lalo na
the value.
Yes. And for example, tatlo sila. In your case, tatlo sila. So, iba-iba yung gusto nila. There are times na sarili, they're on their own, right? There are times na sama-sama sila.
Yes. They have they have commonality. They're brothers. So, there are things that they like to do together. For example, they like discussing stories that they want to create into a game. So, minsan makita mo sila, they're huddling together and talking for hours. As in, they talk for hours. Ano pa ba? It also depends on your priorities. Sometimes, we just drop the workbooks and just if there's an itinerary for the day, like a recording of a rehearsal or an activity that we have committed to, sometimes we let go of the books and just use that as the learning opportunity. Yes. For example, the kids, they help out their father. Their dad kasi works for the kids ministry in a church. And they do productions for the kids ministry. They have videos and to help with the stories and to the Bible stories to explain more about it. And sometimes they need kids to help out. And our kids are always available for that.
And the voiceover.
Yes, the voiceovers, sometimes they act or sometimes they sing. Right now, my husband, he's the one editing the kasi nag-online yung church namin. So we every week nagre-release ng Kids Church online. And my husband kasi is in charge of the Bible memory verse, which they make into a song. So my eldest son, since he's the easiest to get, kasi he lives in the same house, nagre-recording sila. So yun, siya yung nagpa-participate. When we have to do these things, sometimes we balance things din na wag naman sobrang paguri naman na, okay, you do that and then you still have to do this. Hindi naman ganon. It really depends on your priorities.
I think maganda kasi in this setup, hawak mo yung time mo. Hawak mo yung time, you can distribute the hours for example, you put 4 hours here and the following day 1 hour lang. So it's manageable in that sense.
Can I have a disclaimer? Kasi medyo specific kasi sometimes yung yung lifestyle namin. Kasi it really depends on the priority of the family. If a family is more academically oriented, sometimes they make academic goals for the day. Like they have to complete this, and that's okay. Kasi kung magdodoktor ang anak mo or mag-engineer or one of those medyo academically heavy goals, kailangan din talaga natutukan academically, di ba? Especially if the child is interested in that. In our case kasi, we are blessed that my husband and I are still in the creative business, so that it's easy. And since we bore kids who are naturally inclined in the creative side as well, it's easy for us to include them in what we're doing.
Yes. Kasi nga, there are some families who have kids who are at an early age. They already know that, okay, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor.
Yes.
So, at an early age, the parents could already align them and give the materials they need. And kasi,
the opportunities,
Katulad nung sabi nyo nga po, na depende sa priorities din ng family.
Yes. Kasi I know of families na unlike us, hindi nila basta-basta na-let go yung workbooks because they need it for their goals. And that's okay. It really depends. It's a per family basis talaga. It's a case-to-case basis.
Hindi siya parang one fits para sa lahat.
Yes. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Kasi nga, maraming pwedeng yung mga makakanood nito, isipin nila I want to follow this style, I want to follow this style. Pero in the end, iba yung style na gagawin mo for your family, right? Dahil iba yung priorities, yung values na meron kayo, iba yung na-imagine or na-envision mo for your family. So, you may get ideas from other families, pero hindi siya exactly mag-work. Kaya,
exactly.
Sa time na last year ba yun or 2 years ago na nag-trend yung homeschooling and a lot of people joined without the this knowledge, or a lot of people grab the trend. And marami sa kanila yung umalis din after a while. Kasi nga hindi siguro hindi nila nag-gets yung heart ng homeschooling, I guess, or nakigaya lang yung iba, and yung iba iniisip nila this should work for me too. Again, it depends on.
Yes, so it depends on. You have to get to know your children first. You have to know, and you have to also. You have to be confident with your own family. You have to know what your goals are as a family. And you have to customize your homeschooling based on that. Kasi one of the mistakes that I see some people do is that they jump in, copying another family to a T, and then get frustrated and disappointed because it doesn't have the same output or end results. And because iba-iba kasi tayo, we are all unique. Our children are all unique. Our families are unique from each other. So we cannot really say na, eksakto, gusto ko ganito, gagawin ko rin yung ginagawa niya. Yes, tama yun, tingi-tingi ka lang eh. You get what is applicable for your family. So, yun. With us kasi, because nga, ganito na talaga yung life namin, we can afford to let go of the academics once in a while. More than most people. Kasi a lot of people talaga, hindi talaga. For example, if you're gunning for scholarship for college, or if you're, you really need, good grades for that. And to be able to have the good, you cannot, pwede mo naman talagang dayain kasi wala naman talaga mag-ano sa'yo minsan, di ba? Kasi minsan ipapasa mo lang yung grades. But you don't want to do that because it beats the principle of, the whole essence of homeschooling. You want your children to deserve the good marks that you're going to give them and deserve the scholarship that they're gunning for. If you're aiming for certain academic scholarships, then the workbooks is kind of necessary. The books, the textbooks, and the if you need more discussions and more lessons, you want to spend more time on that, and that could be necessary for you. But for us, iba kasi talaga yung priorities namin in terms of that. So we can afford to let go of the workbooks from time to time. Yeah.
Ano naman po, ma'am, yung usual question sa homeschooling families about socialization? I think sa lahat ng homeschool communities, ang laging tanong, or if there's a student who is homeschooling or who is homeschooling, ang laging tanong is, paano yung socialization mo? Paano may friends ka ba? And I want you to give an answer to this one kasi this is a very common question among people. Sige po.
Okay, first of all, I got this from another speaker. I think it was Deborah Bell. She said, there's a difference between being social and being sociable. So you also have to learn to differentiate from that. Some children have no need to be around other children all the time. When I was a child, I kind of preferred to play alone a lot. I mean, I want to see my friends, but
I don't mind not being with
them. Okay lang yun. I mean, some children have a need to be with other people because they're extroverts. It's a personality, di ba? Social skills can easily be learned at home when we speak with your family, with your parents, with your cousins, with your neighbors, with, for example, you live in a condominium, there are staff there. You can communicate there, right? Those are social skills that you can teach your child. In our case, we prefer to train our children yung social life namin, we prefer to be as organic as it can be. We don't want to force our children into circles that they never wanted to be in the first place. Kasi they're people, you have to respect them also. You don't just Of course, there are, let's say, music, arts, and PE classes being offered now. Iba na ngayon. Ngayon, meron ng ganon. For homeschoolers, specifically, in the Philippines, there are MAPE schools or music schools where homeschoolers come together, they enroll, and they take music, arts, and PE classes together, like dance and art and sculpting. My two younger kids, they go to homeschool at the fort.
Okay.
And once a week. So there were other homeschoolers. One of them attends the musical theater class, and the other one attends the hip hop class. There are may ganon. And then there are co-ops. There are a lot of homeschooling families who like to be with other families who want to be connected. So in the homeschoolers of the Philippines, there are different groups in there, like homeschoolers in Makati, in Quezon City. The families banded together, and they would have meetups. So pwede rin naman yon. Pero in our case, we prefer it to be organic. For example, our son, our eldest, he's a teenager now. He attends the youth service in our church, and he attends a discipleship group with other teenagers. So we allow him to develop friendship as naturally as it can get. Like there was this kid there. His name is Manu. My son met him when they were 7, but there was no friendship right away. They met in a soccer class, I don't know if you call it class, but we brought our son to a soccer class, but it didn't work out for my son kasi it turns out hindi siya sporty like that. And this other kid, he was nice naman to my son. Pero he's so advanced. Alam mo yung aliit pa lang niya, pero tinatamaan na niya yung bola with his head, yung lumulundag siya. He was really that good. But he was good to my son. He was trying to include him. But it didn't work out. And there was no friendship that although they saw each other in church, hindi sila agad naging friends. Several years later, they turned out in the same discipleship group in our church, and they became friends. They hang out at the mall afterwards, and yun, natural yung friendship nila. He attends ballet class, so he made a friend there. In theater, when he did rehearsals, he made friends with the kids and the adults that he worked with. The thing about homeschooling is that we also see socialization not as yung ganun lang, yung just with other kids. You can be friends with people of any age, yes, and status. Okay, for example, yun nga, my kids, they have adult friends. Friends nila yung colleagues ng dad nila because they're always there. Ngayon, parang may friendship na. My eldest, he talks to the graphic artists that work there. Kasi they have the same interest. Kasi yun naman talaga if you have the same interest, you will end up banding together or talking together because you have something to talk about.
Yes.
You cannot expect people to just, you put them together na magkakaiba naman sila ng interest and develop a friendship right away. They have to find a certain commonality. Now, having said that, meron din kasing special cases where talagang walang opportunities for a child to socialize other than with his mom and dad. Isang anak in a neighborhood na malalayo ang mga neighbors, they're not part of a community or a church. So yun, medyo e-effort ka doon. As a mom, as parents, you have to find avenues for your child. You have to help your child pag ganun yung situation nyo. But if you are around people on a day-to-day basis,
be natural to socialize.
Yes, yeah. Just bring your child along and you'd be surprised. Yeah, kasi pag bata pa, foundational years yan. So you have, as a parent, meron ka pang pwede mo pa talagang i-control. yung social life ng anak mo. Pwede mo pa siyang tulungan mamili ng friends at a young age. But syempre, when they're older, you have to be confident with the seeds that you have planted and the foundations that you have established in your child. Kasi they will find themselves in the company of people of a different belief and different set of values. It's inevitable. So I guess at a young age, you teach the values, you try to help them you teach them how to find the right friends. But when they're older, you also have to prepare for them for that time when they have to be around people who are not of the same values as you have. Yes. To be able to associate with them without disrespecting them, but at the same time, without compromising their own convictions. So, yun naman yung doon.
Na at an early age, naset na yung foundation nila. So, when they go out of the house, whoever they meet, they are able to extend.
Yes. Practice mo.
Practice na nila.
Pwede naman mo sila talaga kasi hindi mo naman maiwasan, di ba? Minsan, kasama ko yung mga anak ko, may friend ako from college, biglang, talagang iba, nagmumura, doing different things. I think one of the things is you have to set an example of how you relate to these people in front of your child. And then, you have to process your child. If they ask questions, you have to answer the questions. Bakit si uncle ganito? Or bakit si tito ganyan ng ganyan? Mura ng mura. And then you have to talk to your child and explain to him that people are different. They have different sets of values and you have to see them in the eyes of the Lord and how do you relate to people like that? Kasi hindi naman porque iba na yung values, hindi ka na makikipag-usap sa kanila, di ba? So,
you know, for who they are pa rin.
You have to give that you have to also show your children that you can live in this world without and stand on your beliefs without stepping on somebody else's toes or disrespecting anyone.
And yung kaya na nga nilang makipag-mingle to.
Yes.
Any race, any religion, kung ano man yung beliefs nila, kung ano man yung trip nila, iba man yung lifestyle na gusto nila, yun na yung challenge sa kanila when they go out na kaya na pa rin nilang makipag-mingle sa mga taong ito. And hindi, yung parang strong pa rin sila. Strong pa rin yung foundation nila.
Because you don't want to, you also don't want to raise children who are discriminating towards others.
Ayan.
So, balance din yan.
Ayan. Ma'am, before we end po, ano po yung advice nyo dun sa mga bago pa lang or those who are considering to homeschool? Ayan. Lalo na ngayon, marami po talagang nag-search about homeschooling. Ano po yung pwede nyong advice na mabigay sa kanila? Sa mga parents out there na nakakanood nito.
Okay. I'm assuming that we're talking to parents who are considering because of the pandemic?
Okay. Considering because of the pandemic and considering it, pwedeng last year, kasi nakikita ko dun sa mga homeschooling groups na may mga nagtatanong, even last year pa. So,
okay.
Those are considering.
Okay. Homeschooling is an opportunity to build your children, to establish in them the foundations of God's word and to raise them into productive citizens. It's this, when they grow up to be adults, you'll have to release them. And don't see it as, don't go into it in fear, but go into it in faith. Because if you believe that you are called for it, and I think that if you're forced to homeschool right now, well, at this season, you are called to do it. don't take it as an opportunity. Embrace it. Oo, embrace the season. Oo, don't take it as a burden. Embrace the season. It may be temporary for a lot of families because once the pandemic is over, your children can go back to school. But it is an opportunity to connect with them, to teach them about God's word, to establish character foundations, and to just simply to love them and spend time with them. So, take it as a blessing. I know it may not feel that way for a lot of families but there will be ways. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And when you ask questions from those who have, who's been at it for a longer time. And continue to read books, research on it, interview long-time families, join homeschooling communities. There are a lot of homeschooling communities on Facebook. Wherever you are, kahit anong bansa ka, I think. There's one in Singapore, there's a lot in the Philippines, there's a lot in the US.
Someone here din.
Yun. So you join that and connect with other homeschooling families.
Last question, ma'am.
Okay.
I think this is for those who are considering and for those who are long time na, yung matagal lang nag-homeschool. Was there ever a time na yung parang hirap na hirap ka na personally for the mom? Was there ever a time na parang nasa middle ka nung pag-homeschool and all the work, and then parang alam mo yung hirap ka na i-continue yung homeschool, and what did you do to overcome that? Just as an encouragement, I guess, for those who are already in homeschooling.
Okay. Ano ko ba sasabihin?
Meron ba? Was there a time?
Generally kasi, it's a joy for us. The only difficulty we've experienced is basically the accreditation kasi we've independently homeschooled for years, jumped back in the system and came out. So I guess the only time na nagka-problema kami is kasi our eldest, late na naming nalaman na kinesthetic pala siya. Hindi pala siya visual learner. He's more kinesthetic. Oo. He likes to do it on his own. So, dun lang ako nagkaroon ng konting frustration because I wanted him to do it a certain way. Siyempre, panganay, bago pa ako. Hindi ko paano. Naiinis ako sa kanya. Parang I felt like unappreciated. Pero, how did I stopped. I stopped. We took a break. And we had to reassess. We reassessed ano bang ginagawa namin, what's not working, and what are our possibility. And we also ask questions. Nagtanong din kami sa iba, how do you do this? What do you think is the best way to approach it? And we got advice from seasoned homeschoolers also.
I think this is important. No, not just for homeschooling, but even in traditional, yung assessment.
Yes. Oo.
Yung assessment na kamusta na ba siya? Is he following, or does he like it or not? Ano ba yung pwedeng magawa?
Yes. In education, in educating your child, your priority is your child. Oo. Is he learning? Is it working? Oo. Is it working? Is he happy? Because you want your son, you want your child to enjoy learning eh. Kasi the more they enjoy it, the more they will hunger for it.
And it will be easier for the parent kapag na-enjoy.
Yes.
It will be easier for the parent kapag na-enjoy ng anak niya yung learning process.
Jillian Camille. Ayan. Sorry. Okay.
I think, yun nga po, pag na-enjoy nung bata yung, can you hear me? Pag na-enjoy ng bata yung learning process or yung ginagawa niya, and it will be easier for the parents na i-provide yung kung ano man yung gusto nila, yung material, it will be easier on the parents' side, I think.
Yes. Pero kasi yung nangyari it was just difficult for me because I wanted to do it a certain way, and he was resistant to it. He was resistant to it, and we had to step back. So, and we decided, because I didn't want to let go of it. I love the system so much, but it wasn't working for him. So we had to let it go.
I think that's a good point na nabanggit niyo po, na even though the parent likes this system so much, if that is not for the child, hindi natin pwedeng i-insist sa kanila or i-push sa kanila yung certain style. Because
if it doesn't work, change it.
Change it.
Yeah. If it's not working for you, find another way. Because the goal is to teach and to educate. The goal is not to convenience the parent. The goal is to educate your child in the best way possible. So you find that.
Ayan, ma'am. Thank you po, ma'am. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you so much. I hope I was helpful.
Malaking tulong po to kasi nga maraming, alam mo yung pag narinig yung homeschool, negative agad yung naiisip. At least now, nagkaroon ng idea, especially for those who are considering to homeschool this year or maybe in the following years. So,
if I may add, let me just add this. Homeschooling is a big shift of mindset. You cannot think like you would for a traditional school. Talagang mag-shift mo. It's a totally different outlook. It's a totally different perspective. Kaya you really have to be open to new things. And if you do open yourself to new things, you'd be surprised at what a joy it really is.
Malaking role po yung parents in homeschooling.
Yes. Malaki talaga.
Are there homeschooling families wherein both parents are working?
Yes. Meron naman. Meron kaming na-meet sa School of Tomorrow dati kasi meron kaming annual dati eh. Meron kaming annual parent training. And I met families whose the husband and the wife are both working. So pero yun nga, it worked for them na box curriculum kasi sila. So the children are able to work on the paces while the parents are working. And when they get back at home, that's when they discuss.
Ayan. So, yun po, Ma'am May. Thank you talaga. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you also for inviting me.
Sa future, madami pa akong mga itatanong na hindi lang about homeschooling, about many other topics.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma'am. It's such an honor.
Thank you.
Finally.
It's so good to meet you in person.
Thank you. Thank you po. Bye-bye.
Thank you also.